But all
Yeah.
right. So enough Wonder Woman talk, enough DCEU and sad stories and stuff. Let's move on to sad movie stories. So for those of you unaware, Sony, or I think it's Sony, or whoever the fuck is developing this movie, recently an update on the Uncharted film has popped up. And remember, guys, this was a movie that at one point Mark Wahlberg was going to play Nathan Drake and Robert De Niro was going to play Sully. Just let that sink in right now. So anyway, Sony has given an update, and they have said that Tom Holland, Spider-Man himself, will be portraying Nathan Drake. And, Tom Holland, your first thought is that guy's young as shit. Well, that's because this movie is intended to be a prequel. In fact, it's intended to be a prequel to the game series. I don't know if it's canonically linked to it, but it's going to be a prequel to the game series. We're going to have a young, 16-year-old, 17-year-old Nathan Drake still learning the ropes. And, recently Tom Holland has opened up on he talked about the Uncharted movie along with revealing who he thinks should play Sully. So I'm going to read his quote really quick, but this is what he says on his involvement in the film. It's an exciting one. I didn't know much about it. It sort of just came. It was a conversation I had with the studio head, Tom Rothman, about the potential of different movies that I'd like to work with Sony, and I just had the idea that maybe a young Nathan Drake would be something that audiences would be very interested in. I met Sean Levy, the director, at the MTV Awards, and we had a brief chat about the potential of doing an origin story rather than copying what the games have done, and it seems like people have been really excited about it. I know I am. I'm excited to have some further conversations with it. And then when they asked him, who do you think should play Sully? He said, I think Jake Gyllenhaal would be really cool, and I actually went to the Jurassic World film set the other day to visit my friend who is directing it, and Chris Pratt is on that film, who I've become very good friends with over the last few months, and I think he would be a great Sully. I think it would be cool because if it was an older Nathan Drake movie, I would say Chris should play Nathan, and I think he would be a good Sully, and I loved working with Chris. So yeah.
Mm.
You could hear how palpable the
You know,
recording.
crickets.
Yeah, it's just like, dude, I don't even know where to start on this. I think you and I have both came to the conclusion, and we've mentioned this on previous shows and other podcasts, that there's no point to making. At least I think we both feel there's no point in making a video game adaptation film anymore. There really is no point. I mean, movies, dude, games have budgets that fucking movies have now. Like spend like 30-40 million dollars on video games now to make them look film like. Why make a movie? You know what I mean?
I don't.
Like
It's a weird one though, because it's like Assassin's Creed is an example, and they just don't really get because you're gonna try and target here's a better example as well. It's same with like a gaming publication. You go to somewhere like IGN, you find news which is directed to a very niche audience, but a very large and niche audience. People know what they're talking about. People know which games and whatever else. Then when you go to somewhere like the BBC and read a gaming article, they kind of like use layman speak, and it's a little bit like insulting to who's really more oriented to that audience.
yeah.
Because even in the gaming publications, they still give you a good idea of what's going on, even if you don't understand anything else. That's the problem with like movies in this sense. The Assassin's Creed movie, I'm a gamer. I liked Assassin's Creed. Do I want to watch it? No, because it just looked really like average. It didn't have the creative minds that made the game. It's like making a Metal Gear Solid movie without Hideo Kojima's influence or presence there. And the same presence of like this Uncharted movie, not having Amy Hennig, Bruce Straley, Neil Druckmann. Neil Druckmann's not even involved in the movie either. So it's like they are game developers. They're not movie directors or producers or whatever else. But at the same time, their input is important because they create the universe, the characters. They know their audience. They know their fan base. They know. And again, I just said about the characters. They know their characters better than anyone else. And an extension as well. Nathan Drake is just an extension of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
So
He was modern
what's
day Indiana Jones, basically, like Indiana Jones
essentially?
without the Nazis, like.
Yeah, and, not a teacher or anything. Like they took the little things out, but obviously inspiration is there to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily that you need that kind of film for it, because now you kind of have to try and sell Uncharted, which is a video game, very popular video game, to a audience that might not know anything about gaming.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more difficult. And even when the
They'll
stars were
put
like Tom Holland, there's a
they'll put Kanye in the trailer again.
oh yeah, that was,
Like Nathan will do a jump. He'll do that. Watch, dude. I bet you anything. The trailer, they're gonna have that moment where he jumps, and he's grabbing onto the vine, and it's gonna be Kanye
it speaks
West.
volumes though. It speaks volumes though as well, because you watch that trailer with the Assassin's Creed Ezio theme, then you watch it with the Kanye West one. It kind of speaks
Oh,
tenfold about marketing and
yeah,
who you're looking at and how people see things and hear things, everything else. It is very much,
dude.
apparent with that.
By the way, not to get off topic or anything, because you mentioned you haven't seen the movie yet. I did see for free. I watched Assassin's Creed. I had a free rental, and I watched it. And yeah, dude, it's exactly what you would expect. Like,
Yeah, I don't expect
remember how
anything
you and
else.
I,
It's
remember how you and I would talk about it, and we're like, wow, this is gonna be a piece of shit. But man, at least they have Michael Fassbender. That's exactly how you feel at the end of the movie. You're like, wow, what a
can't
piece of
polish
shit.
turd.
Yeah, you're like, what a piece of shit. Hey, man, they had Michael Fassbender. You're like,
Yeah,
he
essentially,
tried.
that's what they kind of do. Yeah, they kind of do that. And his like questioning of like putting Chris Pratt as Sully is like very, very strange. I
It's
know
odd.
obviously he even kind of makes that comparison of like, if it was an older Nathan Drake, like Chris Pratt would be it, but it's like you look at, people like Sully, nowhere near on any level Chris Pratt.
Oh
He's the
yeah,
voice of reason. He's like the Sean Connery to Indiana Jones.
totally. Yeah,
Or the thing it was called Henry
Henry
Jones? Henry
Jones.
Jones to
Yeah, Henry.
to Indiana Jones. It's kind of Henry Jr. You kind of see the contrast of the characters, and obviously if you made a younger film with a younger Henry Jones, you wouldn't put someone like Chris Pratt there. You'd look for like an actor who's got that kind of like chiseled look, a bit more like Anthony Hopkins style if he was a bit
Yeah,
younger,
yeah.
kind of thing. One of those kind of people. And that's what I mean,
No,
like Chris Pratt as Nick Sully. It's like, right.
I will say though, dude, it's definitely a lot better than Robert De Niro.
Well,
Can you, dude? That would have been how shitty would that movie have been if it was? And dude, they were so close to doing it that it was going to be Mark Wahlberg as Nathan Drake and fucking Robert De Niro as Sully. Like it would have been Uncharted in name only. It
it would
just
have been Bourne meets what's it called? um, meets like Meet the Fockers. Like, it would have been like that kind of crossover.
are
It's
you
just
trying
like
to
I just don't.
look at me, Drake?
It's
Are you trying to get this trophy here, Drake? What are you trying to do? That's my horrible Robert De Niro. But it's true. Yeah,
I
dude,
don't.
it's
Yeah,
miscasting all the way. Definitely.
it's weird, and even with Tom Holland as well. Young Nathan Drake. Does anyone care why Nathan Drake's young in that kind of like? When you do the young kind of thing, they did it quite well in Uncharted 4 without me not really caring at the end of it, because they brought Sam
Yeah.
in. Um,
3, I think they did it pretty good
uh,
in 3. That felt like almost like
yeah,
the beginning of Last Crusade, Indiana Jones with young Indy. I like that, but I agree that's more of dude, it's almost like exactly like what Indiana Jones did. Remember they made a whole TV show based off of young Indiana Jones, and it just felt so like I saw that whole fucking show, and it just felt so like, what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, I guess you could do it. You could. It's not like you're going to contradict the films or anything Harrison Ford did, but like, why bother? And it's kind of like the same feeling with this. Like, yeah, you could have Nathan Drake young with Sully going on adventures, I guess, but like, why bother? What's the point? Like, especially now that they just finished Nathan's story in the games, and I'm assuming that if this does connect to the game series, if this is truly a prequel to the games, and it's to a certain extent canon as the fucking Vita game was, I guess. I don't know. I don't see the point of it. I really don't. It's like, I feel like Uncharted is done. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like the Lost Legacy is coming out in August, and the game series is done. And I feel like this movie is like a Johnny Come Lately. It's like, why bother? But then
I think the
again,
game series is far from being done in terms of like in that kind of sense. I think it's done for Naughty Dog, but they're not going to let that die very
Oh, so
quickly.
you
Um,
do you wait? Do you think they should keep it, or do you think they just are
no,
gonna
no,
go?
I don't think I don't think they'll let it die. They will probably keep making games.
I agree. That's a cash cow.
Um,
They'll
but
get
I don't think
people.
they'll use Nathan Drake though.
No, no, no. Nathan's done. They'll get people can fly to make it. Uncharted Judgment. That'll be the next one.
Dear
It'll be
God,
Sully in court. I didn't do it,
help
kid.
us
I
all.
swear. No, but dude, I agree. With everything you've said, I think we're pretty on point with this. But you really think Tom Holland just not really is gonna work?
No, I think Tom Holland is riding on a really big hype train, and a lot of it's down to his one performance in Spider-Man. Even though that sounds very patronizing and everything else, but it is very much on that Spider-Man performance.
Yeah,
And obviously we'll see more of him in Homecoming, but it's a very very attuned role. I kind of had this like reservation with Macy Williams playing Ellie in the Last of Us movie, and even though Druckmann had a support, I just didn't see it. It's a very
yeah,
serious role, and you see that character, and she plays Arya Stark, kind of like, and Arya Stark's not a very good character, to be honest. It's like, George R. R. Martin's not a very good writer either, like that. I'm
yeah.
being truthful. He's got a very good universe, but there's only so much rape and everything else he can throw in there without making it like, he's a very terrible writer in the sense of like how he tries to empower women and like make certain plot points. He is very terrible in that sense.
He is.
Not knocking the show, the show's quality, the show's production values are unbelievable, and then they use them quite well. But going back to the point, it's just strange with Tom Holland. He just doesn't seem to fit the build. They've not really had a young character in that. Even starting with young Indiana, it's the thing though. This is the problem. Like, look at it on this face value. Like in 4, I'm not going to spoil 4 as well. 4 has a great revelation when they go into his past.
Yeah,
About Nathan Drake, and you obviously know what I'm talking about. And you'll know if you play it.
yeah,
But that was only a surplus to telling the main story, and it's always centered around older Nate, because older Nate is more interesting. The same principle applies to Indiana Jones. I'm going to keep using Indiana Jones because it's very much similar. Because the same with Indiana Jones: Last Crusade, it opens with young Indy and it explains very quickly and very efficiently. You see, like, him meeting Henry Jones, then like, flashback, like goes back to a flashback of him like getting yelled at or something like that. They just do it. They do it in one scene. That's it. It doesn't need to keep reoccurring for the plot and take the main focus. The main focus is always on Indiana Jones, and then in that film is on his focus with his relationship with his father. You kind of take so much away from it. And then obviously they bring Sully in, and yeah, I'm kind of done. I kind of just like got to this point where I just need to stop because I'm just like I don't really want to talk about it anymore. It's so like
no, dude.
I just
I think you've made me like a believer. It's true though. It's like he just does not fit the bill. You see his face, and nothing. I'm not saying Tom Holland's ugly or anything, but like Tom Holland has a very innocent face, and I think that's great for Spider-Man, for a younger Spider-Man. Because let's face it, when Spider-Man's innocent is when he's not wearing the mask. When he's witty and is making fun of people, he wears the mask, and that's the whole point of the character, kind of. So I just can't see him playing a snarky younger Nathan Drake, and that's how Nathan Drake would have to be. He'd have to be this like snarky son of a bitch, you know?
mm-hmm.
But all right, guys. No, I think that is the close of the topic, and on that note, I think that's the close of the show, because we are all out of topics for this week. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. It's always a pleasure to do these shows for you guys and to be able to be here with Adnan and talk. Be sure to check us out on YouTube, youtube.com, Podcast Go. We're up there hanging out, posting these things. We are also on Twitter at Podcast Go, so be sure to follow us there for updates on our episodes. And Adnan does such a good job with our Twitter. Also, dude, you're really good.
You.
Seriously, man, you're excellent at. So I've always been so bad at social media, and you and my wife are two people that I've noticed are so fucking good at social media, and I gotta give props where props is due. And this man,
I don't know if that's a good thing, but that's probably for the extended edition of Podcast Go.
no, it's a good thing. Trust me. She did that professionally. So, but no, you guys are really good at it. But anyway, guys. So no, thank you so much for watching, and yeah, we'll be back hopefully next week with another installment of Podcast Go. Thanks for listening, guys. Take care.
Take care.